Hey everybody, Nick Espinoza, your chief security fanatic here, and today I am talking about U.S. Senator Ted Cruz. He's had a pretty bad week, but that also includes a serious data leak if you didn't know. Now, obviously, I'm not in my office at the moment. I am traveling. Nature is healing. I'm back on the road, at least for a little bit, and so bear with me here as I've got my notes over here and all of that. But at this point, and let's just dive into this. You have to know my stance on politics if you've been watching me. And I will say it again, that cybersecurity is agnostic to politics, even though we are definitely not immune from it. So I don't care if you love or hate Senator Ted Cruz of Texas, but this is actually really interesting from the data privacy side of this. And so it's something that virtually no major outlet is really talking about, or they've brushed on it and it just completely dropped off the radar. I had to go looking for this when I actually saw this news story and wanted to check it out myself. So I found this at Politico. This is the only one that really had a solid write-up on it, and I seriously don't think this is being reported even on the 24-hour news channels, with any real alacrity, and it seriously should. So with that, let's get to the background, because at this point, you probably know, if you've been paying attention in the past week or so, Texas here in the United States has had a massive power outage, water shortages, and all of this thanks to a freezing winter storm that they just experienced. And from what I understand, today on Saturday, it's starting to get warmer. People are leaving their houses, stocking up, taking assessment. We are so happy that Texas is getting back on its feet, but they are nowhere near out of the woods just yet. And I actually did a video the other day on their power grid as well. Now, it's a massive problem for millions of Texans, and we hope, obviously, that they get through it. Our thoughts are with them. But Senator Cruz has been a bit of a sideshow to this entire thing this past week. Now, a quick primer on what the news is actually talking about, and then we'll get to what we need to talk about here as well. So if you didn't know, Senator Cruz was actually spotted at the Houston, Texas airport with his family on Tuesday flying to Cancun. This is obviously right at the height of everybody, millions of Texans, almost 3 million Texans out of power, water, everything, and he's boarding a flight to Cancun. Now, we know this because many people in the airport took pictures of him at the gate, and even more people that were actually on his flight as well took pictures of him on the plane as they were leaving for Cancun. When that plane landed, Senator Cruz and his family was then met in Cancun by reporters that had caught wind of this as it started to go viral on social media. Now, obviously, the optics for Senator Cruz, and he has fully admitted this in interviews, basically him leaving his state while millions are freezing without power and water, that's not good optics, but what isn't being reported here, and this is what I actually want to talk about, is why we're going to turn to Politico, because United Airlines, the airline that Cruz took, is investigating who leaked data revealing when the senator originally planned to return to Texas. Many Texans went to social media to complain about the senator after they saw he was leaving, and so he basically scrambled to change his plans. So here was the narrative. Cruz at first insisted on Thursday that his trip to Cancun was at the behest of his daughters. He then skirted the issue of when he originally planned to return. He returned on Thursday a couple of days ago, but when reporters asked him, well, were you going to return on Thursday or were you returning somewhere else? Did you cut this short? He really didn't answer, but earlier on Thursday, Edward Russell, who is a reporter for a travel news site, Skift, tweeted that he had talked to a source at United Airlines who said that the senator had, and I quote, rebooked his flight back to Houston from Cancun for this afternoon around 6 a.m. today, Thursday. He was originally scheduled to return on Saturday. And so while Senator Cruz himself did not say when he was originally set to return, which was going to be today on Saturday, he arrived on Thursday rebooking his ticket, and there is a data leak. Now, a United executive said that in a statement to Politico, and I quote, "It's against United's policies to share personal information about our customers, and we are investigating this incident." The executive also noted that the leaker could be terminated, which makes sense. Now, tens of thousands of United employees have access to customer flight data, obviously to help serve customers, rebook tickets, get new tickets, etc., etc. But according to Politico, leaks about individual travelers' flight plans are rare, in this industry here in the United States. We have data security laws that are supposed to maintain that privacy. The United executive also said that no options are off the table, but it depends on the outcome of the investigation if they definitively find that an employee actually disclosed this information, and if it was, what the intent was there. So the leak then had another journalist pipe up, Yashar Ali, and he tweeted, and I quote, "That guy claiming to have a United source is putting that source in danger of being fired with his tweet. Airlines track every single keystroke of their agents or anyone else who has access to flight records." Now, the details of Cruz's original return flight from Russell was not the only piece of travel data journalists discovered about Cruz. So Yashar Ali is, I think, pretty correct here. We've seen some of these issues like this and logging of these kinds of things in other compliance standards like HIPAA. United is going to know which users of their system access Senator Cruz's flight information, and they're going to track that person down. That's going to be pretty obvious to find. And of course, some employees would be involved in rebooking for the senator. So for example, if he called the United toll-free number and said, "Hey, I need to rebook from Saturday to Thursday," the United representative on the phone would obviously do that for him, etc., etc. However, if an employee accesses records but had no clear reason to do so, a United investigation could essentially pin that down. And we've seen this kind of thing happen before. And a perfect example of this would be Britney Spears. When she checked herself into, I believe it was the UCLA Medical Center, they got something like a $1.5 million violation because nurses and doctors were logging in to the database, basically seeing Britney Spears' information and then trying to sell it to the Inquirer or wherever they were going to see. Access to records is tracked very heavily. And so if you are looking at, let's say, the complete chain of custody of Senator Cruz from the time he called that 800 number to rebook his flight or got onto the app to change that, everybody that accessed that flight record is going to be logged in United's system, and they better have an actual reason for getting in there. Now, it could be a supervisor needing to check something, or it could be some rogue employee that's, sitting in Chicago or New York or somewhere else that has no idea, but maybe just really hates Senator Cruz and says, "You know what? I'm basically gonna dox this guy. I'm gonna show the world that he was just gonna ditch them through the entire thing." So I don't know where that is. And so here's the thing. Consider a scenario, though, where a legit United booker has Cruz on the phone, puts him on hold, and then mentions to a colleague, "Holy cow, I'm booking for Senator Cruz right now." I mean, think about that. How are you handling that situation? Is the person that says, "Oh, I'm going to access this," or is that a leak in and of itself? Where is the level that United takes us to? I think that's actually a very interesting question, because I think at the end of the day, this is going to come down to company policies and disciplines. If United has a stringent policy, then yes, somebody is going to get sanctioned or somebody is going to get fired for this. But if United plays fast and loose, then somebody's going to get fired to make an example out of that person. Either way, love or hate the senator, his data privacy has been violated, and that's what I'm talking about here today. We don't have to inject politics into absolutely everything. And so you might love the guy, you might hate the guy, but at the end of the day, I don't want to see his data privacy violated in the same way I don't want to see yours or mine or anybody else's. We have ethical standards. We have compliance standards that we need to meet. And if we are not meeting them, that's a very serious issue. And so here we are. The optics, obviously, for the senator are not good. He openly admits that, not to mention past tweets and all this stuff as I've been keeping up on the Texas situation. But here we are. He has a right to privacy just like we all do. And so that is your news of the day. And if you're in Texas, I'm glad you guys are recovering. Please keep it up. And please like, share, follow me here on Facebook and Twitter at NickAESP. And please feel free to subscribe to me at YouTube as well. And as always, stay safe and stay online. Thanks, guys.